This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be covering Webplanner. So I'm going to jump in right now with my own account. We're going to be covering my account is premium. We're going to show you how we're using it internally, and I'm going to show you how to create a project and integrate that project with ACT. Okay. So the first thing is you're going to go to webplanner.com. You're going to click on the login. You're going to face this screen. Okay, if you do not have an account yet and you want to set up a trial, just click on register as a new user and start with that. But we're going to log in here. And this is my dashboard. This is what's going to welcome me each and every single time. Now, the approaching tasks here is, okay, the approaching tasks here are basically coming together from all the different projects that I've got going on. So that's kind of handy. I can have many different projects on this side, but this will show me the ones that are coming up due from any one of them. Okay. On this side, it's a breakdown of all my different projects that I've got as active or listed as active. And then if I wanted to create a new one, I can click on here. I can click on project templates, or I can upload a project kickstart file. Okay, when the Webplanner first launched, they called it, Project Kickstart with Wings. Okay, that was their marketing. But this is your 3 ways of making a project. I'm going to show you what we've got going on with Development Board 2022. Okay, now it defaults into what we describe as the task list view. Okay, so going into the task list view, and it basically breaks down everything. Now you're going to see here by default, the show completed is cleared, because who wants to see the cleared activities? But if you want, you can immediately see quite a few of the cleared activities, and they would be displayed as such. But since those are already done, this is going to be our default. So whenever you go into a project, you're going to see the task list. And the task list, not unlike quick tasks, it's really focused around the task list. I mean, certainly as a, excuse me, as a project management tool, you can go to schedule and manage it from a Gantt chart perspective. Okay, but projects are built around around tasks. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, I may want to turn around and let's take a look at what's in front of us. We can see here where anything that is on the route here, so that the first level of the tasks, this is considered a phase. Anything here that's indented and subordinated under here is considered a task. Now, that's not to say you can't have a bunch of tasks at the same level, but it really is structured in terms of phases and tasks, with tasks being nested under phases. Okay, and we're going to understand that a little bit more clearly when we build a new one. But you can see the different components here. Here's the assignments, whose each of these tasks are assigned to. You can see the different attachments, write a comment. You can see the start date, end date. All of these things, for a lot of task lists, you may find that the start date and the end date are basically when they were created, and then you can either drill into them and change them individually, or go to the schedule and move them around in the Gantt. Okay, costs are something that some people use, some people don't. Internally, we don't use them much, but we certainly try to track percentage of completion, and that's one of the things that that Kat's in charge of, is really tracking what percentage of completion, so that I can actually see how we're doing. Now, the status is also really important, because anything along here you can filter by. So if I want to see only Austin's tasks, if I want to see dates, if I want to see priorities, and most specifically tasks, I may want to just look at things that are in progress, and I can see them as such. Okay, not unlike a spreadsheet. I get a lot of people that will say that that's how they think of it. Okay, and got that. Okay, and then the total cost will roll up over here. Okay, now just looking at these things, if I were to look at link to docs, which is a project we haven't started at, I can see all the different tasks that are currently backlogged that we've got here as feature items that we got to get done. Okay, so what we use this for is when we're scoping out a project, we will put in all the points, all the features that we want to cover. Doesn't mean that they're exhaustive, but certainly some defining features that when we're kind of building a project, and we're trying to think of all the use cases, some of the features will often flow forth from that, and this is where we'll build it. And we click on this and we can click on new tasks and it will be subordinated under here, so we can add them on the fly. This is a very organic thing, so you can change it on a daily basis. Okay, if I was to drill in to any one of these, okay, I can see things like the name, the parent, okay, obviously the phase, priority, status, cost, percentage done, start date, end date, okay, and then create task in act. Kind of neat, eh? So you can actually create a task in act. Now, before we get too far into that, do remember that tasks in a CRM and tasks in a project management are very, very different, where you've often got from and to dates and you can see only the start date and end date, and obviously with CRMs, the from and to dates are often the same, and it's mostly a from and to time. So just be mindful of that they don't always translate perfectly, but here's the ability where if you've got something, and let's say I need Kat to follow up on something, I can actually create a task and assign it to her right off the bat. Now, what is a predecessor? A predecessor is something where I need to complete one task before I can go on to this one. Now, why is that useful? Well, when I am planning here, and let's go to the schedule, okay, I may have a bunch of tasks here, okay, and let me just move this one over here, okay, and now I'm going to just, come on. Okay, so what I've done is I have created this as a predecessor. Now the beauty of this is if I've got to complete this and this thing gets delayed, watch what happens. It moves the whole thing. Okay, so that's one of the points of having predecessors. If something has to be completed beforehand and that particular thing needs to be rescheduled, it understands that everything that is dependent on it needs to move in lockstep. Okay, and all you got to do is just simply click here, and you can make a connection. Pretty simple, right? People often ask, well, if you're just going to work with a spreadsheet, why wouldn't you just, because you can filter by a spreadsheet, why wouldn't you, or sorry, if you're just going to work with tasks, why wouldn't you work with a spreadsheet? These are some of the features, okay, where you can really do things a lot more advanced, okay? Now, let me just pause here and see if there's any questions just based on what I've reviewed in this current project.
So Ken?
Yes, hi Karen.
Hi. Link to docs, that is the project or is that a phase?
Yeah, very good question. Link to docs is a project, but what we've done is we've lumped them all different projects together under one big parent project called Development 2022. Okay.
Yep.
It's a fair question, but for us, I've tried to compartmentalize them within their individual projects. It actually just becomes very unwieldy. And I kind of forced this on Kat, so I thought, let me be nice and do it the right way. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So all these are phases when in fact they are de facto projects. Okay. And you can see things like link to forms, team edition. Probably some of this needs to be updated because we're largely done, but we can also see bugs and things like that. And this really gives Kat a nice high level view of all the things that she's in charge of managing. Okay. Now let's look at the different components that we've got here. I'm not going to click on, well, I'll click on overview. Why not? Okay. This is going to break it down into approaching tasks for this. and then it's going to show you a timeline, and then it's going to show you the team. Okay. This is useful, especially if you are tracking the times better than we are, because we're using this less. That you could see here where a lot of the stuff that is meant to be done isn't really complying with the dates, but we're using this more to track progress, okay, rather than progress against time. Okay, so you can see the timeline here, that you can see the team. The wizard kind of shows you the different parts of the project, okay, but with right side viewing. It's kind of like, you know, you can click on any one of these, but now you can actually see all the details here on the right side, okay? You can go down to the goals, similar projects, teams, obstacles, and assign, and I'll kind of break through those as I go. So back to the task list, okay? We've got the different functions here. You can move items up and down, right to left, basically means indent, outdent. Here is a new phase, here is a new task, obviously delete. This allows you to, if you select this, to task information, which is basically the same as double clicking. Okay, task comments. Okay, refresh the screen. Clear filters, export to Excel. Export to Excel is something really, really handy if you've done up a project and you just want to get someone's approval on it before you distribute it to your team. You can export this off, and it's going to respect most of the, let me just show you what that looks like here. Most of the layout here. Okay, just jumped over to my other screen. Okay, so that's pretty clear, right? Really showing you what the so if you wanted to get someone's feedback on this before implementing with the team, they don't have to have Webplanner. You can just fire that off to them. Okay. Compets assignees are pretty straightforward. What I can do here is I can scroll up and down, and I could see if there's anything that isn't assigned. Okay, and I can say, okay, well, this is pretty clearly going to be Fajar, and then save assignments. And now those are his. Okay, really, really simple process. Okay, and then if we go back to the task list, we'll be able to filter, and we can, you know, see for him. Come on. Oh, it's already done. Okay. Now let's clear all filters. Okay. Attachments, now reports. What's due today? It's maybe empty. Okay. Background, API notifier, that kind of thing. Okay. So you can see here what's due next week, what's due next month. Like I said, we're not terribly fastidious with managing the dates of each of the tasks, so some of this information may not be that great, but individual assignments. Okay, so you get all this handy reporting available to you. Let's get into the actual program from a new project perspective. Okay, the first thing is we want to make sure that our API settings are fine. I tested mine this morning. Everything is fine. Here's my handsome mug. Preferences, setting the date format, and then the ACT connection. Okay. Now you're going to find out pretty quickly why that's important, because I'm going to create a new project here. I'm going to call this Fix Demo Project. Okay, so here you can see Vix Demo Project. I've got Act Opportunity, Act Process and Stage, and Act Users. Linked to an existing opportunity, I want to create a new opportunity. So why is it talking about opportunities? Obviously, there's no tables that support the one-to-many relationships that are needed with this. Hold on. That are needed with this to inside of Act. So the one-to-many is really only supported by new opportunities. Okay, or sorry, opportunities, because you can't use contacts. Contacts are all one-to-one. You can't do companies, same things. Can't do groups, same thing. This allows you to have one-to-many, so you can have, you know, any number of products, any number, and also filter by stages and things like that. It's really only supported by opportunities. Be mindful though, if you are using opportunities in the traditional way, that you want to have a dedicated process so that you're not looking at your projects, you know, mixed amongst your pipeline. Okay, I'm going to click on Create New. See loading down here. Any questions while we're waiting? Obviously, if you've ever used any of the API products, you never know if there's going to be any latency with the API. But when you're first making that initial hit in creating an opportunity, that's where you're going to get the lag. And then after that, it should be pretty speedy. Don't make, okay, there we are. Okay, so we're going to call this Lex Demo Project. Process, as I said, is very important. So I'm going to just say, let's call it this one, select stage, intro, linked users. I'm going to say, automatically create opportunity products from tasks with a cost value. No. Automatically create opportunity history when completing a task.
Ken, when would you do the first one? Automatically create opportunity products from tasks.
If you want, like if you are creating tasks and you are assigning costs to them, so let's say you're tracking labor or you're using subcontractors and you want to kind of set a task, like let's say something's going to be 4 hours, you're paying $50 per person or $50 per hour, then you're going to want to set that cost in there. So when you're doing that, that actually makes perfect sense to click on this, because that way the opportunity will actually have real values.
Oh, great,
okay?
Thank you.
And real costs, okay?
Good.
But good question. Automatically create opportunity notes when adding comments. Perfect. Okay, so now you get this. Now let's look at the next. Now, this is where you're going to do most of your work, adding in phase and tasks. So I'm going to say first is phase, okay? And we'll just do this as kind of a wedding plan. Think of something simple. Actually, we've often used Vic's birthday party because he's had so many of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to say party planning. And then we're going to do invites, invitations, and
gift registry, of course.
Of course. Okay, and I'm putting them in any order so I can move things down or up. Okay, and then I'm just going to add actual event. And then apologies, which in Vic's case, you know, there are going to be many. Okay, so now here's the 5 stages. So the first one, I'm going to say add a tasks. Okay. send out mail to Vic's surviving friends. And you notice how I've got the phased highlighted? So when I click on the task, it will nest under that. Okay, check for his friends' average bedtime. And then find out how cheap they all are. Okay. So now, okay. Okay.
I have been in Walmart twice in my life, so yes, that works
Okay.
for me.
Actual event. Okay. Okay. And then okay, surviving, troubling spelling there. Okay. So I've got the structure of a project. I can now click on next. Now, what are my goals? Get this done before Vic passes of natural causes. It's always my goal. Okay, next. Okay, so now if I've got any other tasks here that aren't nested, I can then at that point connect them to this. Okay. Okay, if I have similar projects, I can import them in here. That will save time. Okay, who's going to be involved? Well, let's say add a team member, Adriel. Did we have Caleb here? Just looking for people that like Vic. This may take a while. Sorry, we've only got 30 minutes. Let's see. Oh, my wife likes him. Or at least she's better at faking it than me. Okay, so now we've got these. Okay, put the new tasks in appropriate phases next. What obstacles? Vic's age. Age of his friends. Okay. Okay, put in the task appropriate phases of your project next. Okay, so now this is where I can assign things as I showed you before. If I select here, I'll put this to Adriel. Okay, I'll do the invites. Okay, and I'll put Zidane in charge of those. Okay, actually, you know what? I didn't click on save. That's bad. Here, hold on. So here, assign to Adriel, save, and then go. I'll take that, save, and then Zdena will do that, save. leave the rest. Okay, so now I've got a task. Okay, task list, if I want to move things around, okay, I can start saying, okay, let's do here. Okay, hold on. Okay, come on. Now, you see here where it's working around the weekends, you actually have some settings where you can say wrap around weekends. Okay, so I'm going to say over here, and this one I want to make sure is connected. So I'm connecting them. So these two are now dependent. So now if I move them, they'll move in lockstep. Okay. And let's see, move that over there. And it's just a very, very easy way to move around. You notice how each one of these, every time that I stretch this or push something out, this particular phase gets stretched out to include them all. Okay, same thing with here. So no, come on. Okay, and here, and I'll just do one last thing there. Come on. Okay, so now if I go back to my task list, I will see all the dates updated to reflect that. Okay, and now if I go up to, let's say, go to Act, go to Opportunities, and I call it VIX Demo. There, VIX Demo Project. Okay, and you can see because I checked that box, all of the tasks here are now listed here under products. Okay, now why would we do that? The reason is that if you've got people that are working in Act but not working in Webplanner, you've got the ability to track and update and make sure that all these things are done here in ways that the rest of the Act users can see. Okay, and you can see that the estimated close date was stretched out 1 month. It looks like 1 month from today, and I can add additional users to that. But that's basically it, and that's exactly the 30 minutes that I wanted to cover. So let me quickly open this up for any questions, and I will record this and post it back in the KPP sales in general. But any questions for now?
Now, for these, is there any way of attaching activities to the opportunity, like for the different contacts?
Well, remember you had that create task option?
Yes. Oh, okay. Yep.
Okay, so you can create tasks, you can drill down into any one of these things and create tasks in Act.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Ken, does this run locally on the machine, on the machine that you're using?
Oh, this is on our server. So
so it's a server service that you sell.
Yep, this is what the subscription is about. All of this is running on our servers. The other nice thing is you can see that it's pretty mobile as well, okay, because it's all done in HTML5.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and if I want, I can select any one of these tasks as complete, and if I select the phase as complete, then it closes out any of the subordinated or the nested tasks. Same thing with here. Prompts me again. Now, obviously, each one of these things only has like one under them, but sometimes things you can have several tasks get done at once, and by just simply clearing the phase, it allows you to clear several steps at once. And this should bring us down to our last phase, the apology phase. And that's it.
Hey, Ken, it's Shannon. I have 2 questions, I think. The first one, can you tie, since it's an opportunity, can you tie that to a contact or a company record? So if somebody was doing multiple projects for a company, that they could have multiple things going on to track where they are in the process for that particular company.
The answer is yes.
And then can you create a template if I'm a contractor or something and I have certain things that I need to do? Is there a way to do that?
Some project templates,
Okay, great.
and then you get all these projects down here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Ken,
Yes.
I tend to have some paranoid customers. How do you talk about confidentiality when you're selling this?
About
If it's on your
confidence?
server.
Well, everything's on someone's server. I mean, honestly, like it's always going to be a trade-off. You know, do you want it on your server where you have to maintain it and manage it and update it and things like that, just to have, you know, access? Or, you know, do you want to have it hosted, which pretty much everyone does? Like we in the ACT world, I think sometimes lose sight of the fact that most people don't self-host. Okay, but the reality is I cannot think of, and I'm not making light of what you're saying, but I really can't think of anything, any kind of project management service, whether it's Monday, Reiki, Asana, or anything like that, that is self-hosted. If they really want self-hosted though, okay, and this is probably the best way and most serious way to answer your question. If this is a primary concern of theirs, and this may be a security concern that's industry driven, not so much, you know, what you know, how anal someone might be about security, then they should get an on-premise application like Project Kickstart, where they can share all the files on their server and everything remains behind their firewall. The reason that I'm more comfortable promoting Webplanner versus Project Kickstart is because that's less of a concern for people, okay? And I guess the bigger issue is that people collaborate outside of their own team. So like for instance, let's say you're doing a deployment for someone, okay? And it's got several stages. There's the install stage, there's the, you know, the database deployment and upgrade stage, and then the database customization stage. You may want to map this out in a project, send a link to that project to that customer as a guest, which is a free thing that you can do, okay? Because what happens is if you set them up as a trial account and invite them, they get set up as a trial, but then when their trial expires, they converts them into a guest and they can access that project forever, okay? And they can, you know, go into that link, log in, and constantly see you tracking your progress towards completion. That isn't something that's going to be available in a non-premise solution. So that's why we've put most of our efforts towards that, but not to ignore people that where that is a primary concern, then they should get something that can stay behind their firewall, which is where Project Kickstart would kick in.
Okay, but I can see no one is looking at your data, even though it's hosted.
Right. Oh God, no. I mean, everything is secured on our Azure server, okay? And everything's you know, compartmentalized. Like I don't even know. I have to even see who's using our service. Okay, but at that I have no idea at any given point who is logged into our server or who isn't. So we would have no way of accessing that. I mean, if we were asked to, you know, restore something, we might have to go into, I think they're called blob files or something like that, to see if we can recover it. But no, there's no way of anyone peeping in it, and it's all, you've got the certificate under this, so you know, we've done all the normal things you would expect. And like I said, it's on Microsoft Azure, so it's hosted pretty securely there too.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay. So if that's it, guys, thanks for your time. I'm really pleased with the number of people that showed up for this. I never know how much interest there is on a particular subject, but this seems to have resonated with you guys. I will complete the recording, as I said, and then I will drop the link when we're done. So thanks for your time. Just remember, everyone, that I'll be working remotely for every Monday for the rest of the summer. So I will be working on Monday, but up at the cottage. Okay. I wish you all a great weekend. Thanks.
Thanks, Ken.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.